We are talking about relationships on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Dr. Eve is in the house. You can give us a call on 0839133728. But before we go on, let's head to the street where we ask people about, does your partner have an unhealthy social life?
The way that we should resolve the problem is for us both to party together. Unless it's a boys' night, then that is understandable.
Communication. You need to speak to the person, tell the person, you need to be with me. If it's not going to be with me, you need to make a choice. Ultimatum, it works. Give the person a choice.
I'll have to talk to her. If that doesn't work, I'll have her get counseling or go for some kind of support group or something.
I think you would have to speak to your partner and tell them your concerns and maybe tell them that they need to calm down a little bit. Maybe you can't party like you used to, it happens to all of us.
Some interesting comments there from some of our viewers and people on the street. We got a caller during the break who didn't want to be live, but she did share with us a dilemma that she was having. Dr. Eve was here also, where she said she's struggling at the moment. Her heart is broken. She wants to go out and just let her hair down every so now and then. She's stuck at home with the kids every single day. She doesn't really get to go out, but the husband doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't want to go anywhere. What does one do in a situation like this?
It's about communication, which once you get to the point of conflict, they both get stuck into their positions, and he's saying, I don't want to go out because I'm happy at home, and she's saying, I want to go out. So she says she goes out with her friends occasionally, but he objects. That for me was a red flag. Is that why should he be objecting to her going out? That's a very unhealthy relationship when he expects her to be mirroring him and staying joined to his hip all the time. That's why I started out the show by saying I really enjoy the fact that people today have individuality and they feel that they have the freedom to go out and party with their own boundary in place, with your own sense of ethic and responsibility of how far am I going to be going. And he should be adult enough to be able to manage her going out with accountability. And I was going to say with the time, but I don't like that time thing about what time are you going to be coming home. Just become accountable through the night. Where are you? What are you doing? But she should be allowed to do that because that relationship is going to become very taut and full of resentment and anger, which is not a good way to have a relationship.
You mentioned that it actually ultimately comes down to communication, how a couple communicates, and how does these, these different viewpoints and, different ways of thinking impact a relationship? Because she's heartbroken, she wants to get out, she spends all day at home, he's probably out working, and still they can't find a common ground.
Every single relationship, the strength, the success of any relationship, Leanne, depends on how well couples manage conflict. Now, you don't want to bottle up that conflict because by the time that you decide to discuss the issue, you're already in a stage of such rage and anger that you're not able to listen to this person. So the important thing is when it feels irritating, that's a time to begin to say, this is getting uncomfortable for me, and then there's more ability for rational discussion to happen rather than rageful discussion where nobody really listens to each other.
Talking about that, we also got another caller during the break from Johannesburg. Flip side, he wants to spend time with his girlfriend who always wants to be out partying with her friends and really doesn't want to spend time with him. What happens in a relationship? Should he just give up or should he continue fighting? Should they sit down and communicate? Because apparently it's become a very big problem in their relationship.
So she's letting him know she wants a different form of attachment, that she likes to keep her social life separate from her intimate life. So she's obviously not inviting him into that world, or maybe he doesn't want to go into that world. And so if he's feeling dissatisfied with the amount of attachment or attention she's given him, it may just be that this is a relationship that's just too difficult to find any kind of good solution for.
Oh, man,
One has to admit that. You
have to.
It is better to do that right from the beginning before you settle down and you get married, because those signs are there before you get married.
These are important topics. I don't think anyone ever thought that we had to actually discuss these things, but we do have a caller on the line. Good morning, Heather from Port Elizabeth. What is your question for Dr. Eve?
The question, it's not really a question, it's a statement.
Okay.
It's not really a question, it's a statement.
Heather, you might need to turn down your TV in the background because we can hear ourselves.
Okay.
That's very important when you do call us on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Please make sure that your TV is turned down so we don't hear ourselves over and over again. Heather, are you back?
Right, I've done it.
Awesome. Thank you. What's your comment for Dr. Eve?
Why do people live together or get married together and they still want to go out separately. I maintain they should stay separate until they've really settled in their hearts what they need to do with their lives.
Heather, I can hear from your voice that you're slightly older, maybe my generation, my age. And so you grew up...
I could give you, darling, I can still give you a lot more years.
Exactly. So you
It's
grew
not
up...
that I stay young.
Fabulous. So you grew up in a generation where that was the expected norm, that traditionally husbands and
No,
wives...
don't give me that. Don't
What?
give me that.
What? Tell me
Don't
then.
give me that. No, I don't go along with that.
But
Okay.
your idea, your viewpoint is a traditional one, where you got to get that out your system, and then you get married, and then you stay together all the time, which is a very joined at the hip, very traditional view of marriage.
Well, that's where trouble comes in, isn't it? If they stay together and they go out, that's where trouble comes in.
I don't think so. You know, I think that
Oh, yes.
that's your experience, right? Tell us about the trouble you've had.
No, I've had none.
Okay, because you just kept him at home with you all the time.
Yes.
All right.
You know,
Yeah, okay.
There's a right and a wrong. I always say there's a right and a wrong way of doing things, and I don't think that you're putting out the truth.
Okay, so the truth is
Thank
in
you
that-
so
yeah,
much,
yeah.
Heather. Well, just another point of
different
view,
opinion.
I think. Yeah,
Absolutely, a
That's
different
that's why
opinion.
we ask people for their opinions, because
Yes.
it is your take and your opinion on
Yeah.
something. But you were going to say about what she said?
Yeah, I just think that if the two of them agree that that's the way
Yeah.
that they want their relationship to be, fantastic. Fantastic. But a lot of people don't have that idea. And I come back to the beginning that the idea or the rules or the notion of relationship has changed today. No longer is it a healthy joint at the hip relationship. People become frustrated. Also, people stay married in a long time. It just becomes a frustration when you can't express your individuality and you're suppressed.
Absolutely. But ultimately, I think every relationship is different, and that's what we're talking
Yeah.
about. What is your experience in your relationship? We will be talking to Dr. Eve a little bit later on. Again, give us a call, 083 913 3728. It's all about relationships today. More on this after the break.
Oh, you can make my